G'day ladies and gents, and welcome back to War Thunder. Today we're having a look at the Leopard 2K, which sits at the very top of the German tank tree, and is by far one of my favourite tanks this patch. Definitely a massive favourite. I absolutely love this tank. It's got the combination of mobility, firepower, and survivability. It's a very, very versatile tank. Not as much as the Abrams, but definitely up there. I would say it would be the second best tank of the patch, after the Abrams, of course. I definitely recommend grinding this tank. For a start, if you were looking for a video to encourage you, this is it. I would highly recommend grinding this tank out. Even if it takes you a million years, I would still recommend that you do it. It is so much fun when you know what you're doing, and it's just been, whilst it's been challenging, it's also been very, very rewarding. It doesn't really need the armor. A lot of people were complaining, oh, well, Germany doesn't get a tank with armor. We have heard from BVVD that the Germans will be getting some armor, but in all honesty, it really doesn't need it. The Leopard 2K functions just as well at 9.0, and I don't see a need for it, but, you know, more tanks is good. Especially more fast tanks with good mobility and great firepower. As you can see, in the Leopard 2K, I'm able to pretty much keep up with the KPZ and the MBT, and I'm also able to outflank Abrams, which is very, very handy. As you can see in the clip, I managed to ambush an Abrams and pop it in just 2 shots, which is a little bit rare for Abrams tanks. They normally go in about 3, but for the most part, you can really deal with those pesky Abrams tanks and the T-64s with quite a significant amount of ease, which I really, really find refreshing. Especially after playing the Challenger 1, where you're sort of stuck in that heavy tank role, but without the armor. It sort of feels like I've got a bit of go to me again with the Leopard 2K. I really, really enjoy it. I'm able to sort of help out my team and play that support role, which is what I really enjoy. I don't like pushing the main front. I love that supporting role. I love saving my team when it needs to be. And I love playing that sort of flanking role, which is what you're able to do. Although you are also able to sort of rush in and YOLO charge and stuff like that, provided that you have a good team with you. It's just that I like this style better, and this tank is absolutely perfect for it. This is the kind of tank that I've wanted in the British tree, not specifically the Leopard 2K, but something of this caliber, something of this style, and that's something that I would really like to see in the British tree. I find that the Leopard 2K has that sort of ability to do crazy things. It's got that mobility, it's got that firepower, and it doesn't really need the armor, as you saw in the first 30 seconds, where I engaged the MBT and I took a shot to the engine. Whilst it did set me on fire, I still got away because of the poor damage from heat, and that's all you really need. In a tank like this, your main protection against enemy shots isn't necessarily your armor, although it can be. You can use your internal components as well. For example, the breach. I find that the cannon breach tends to soak up an absolute hell amount of shells. I've been in a hull down position before and unable to move, and I found that I've survived just because the breach soaks up that much damage. And that's one of the beauties of this tank. You can just keep soaking the shots, and if you angle your components correctly, you can also soak side shots, which is amazing. Not many tanks can take a side shot. which is one of the rare qualities of this tank, and I really, really love that about it. What I also love about the Leopard 2K is its ability to disengage when it's in a problem of a situation. As you can see here, I completely botched the shot on that Chieftain Mark 10. I shoot its tracks with the 20 mils, which is another plus to the thing. Pop my smoke and go for the repair. Nice and simple. Something that many other tanks will struggle to do because of either a poor reverse speed or just that inability to soak damage. Like tanks like the Challenger 1, when they tend to get hit, it tends to be a sort of crippling blow. Not so much with the Leopard 2K. It definitely is disabling and it's not fun. But it isn't the end for you, because as long as you've got your mobility, you're pretty much fine. You're pretty much set. As you can see in the clip, I completely botched the shot again, but a really good teammate helps me out with a bomb drop and saves me, which I'm both grateful for and surprised. You don't often get good teams in multiplayer games, but that's fine. I'll take that. That's really, really nice to see. As you can see, our team is mostly Leopard 2Ks and other higher tier Germans. And I think we had the Russians this time. Oh no, we didn't have the Russians because I killed one. But for the most part, our team was really, really good, and we managed to push up, and we managed to take our power positions, take the cap, and push for the spawn, and give us a really, really nice and easy victory. One thing I have to say that I really love about the Leopard 2K is once you die, that's not it. You've got more to come back at them with. You've got the Leopard A101, you have the Raketen Jagdpanzer II Hot, you have the Flak Panzer I Gepard, you have the KPZ-70, and if you feel like flying, you've got the Arados, you've got the Dorniers if you're feeling brave, you've got some propeller-driven fighters, maybe the D13 or the D9, G10, G14. Although I wouldn't advise taking them just because of the potency of AA at the moment. But for the most part, you can deal with the jets, the MiG-15 BIS, the Horton 229 if you're feeling a little bit masochistic. Or alternatively, you can take the CL-13. Use those bombs, use those HVARs, use those 50 cals, and use that speed. You've got a wide variety to select from. You've got pretty much everything under the sun, and I think that's a really, really good thing for a lineup. Particularly the German lineup, which last patch was a little bit lacking because they didn't have a really good backup on their main battle tank. As you can see, playing it sneaky with the Leopard 2K isn't that hard. You just use your cover, use your surroundings, and you can ambush people without a problem, as I did to that T-54. Now, once that's all over, it's a really, really easy win, because realistically all you need to do is take those early game power positions and abuse them, not by camping, but by playing them tactically. As you can see in this next clip, I'm on Poland, and I take this ridge here. Not this one, but the next one up. And I completely destroy the enemy team as they leave their spawn. Now, is it spawn camping? To some extent it is. Honestly, I'm not that fussed because the map design allows for it. So my objective is to flank the enemy and take them out, and that's what I'm going to do. Now, it's a bit of a tricky situation in that respect, but for me, I'll just use that spot, and if the map designers decide to change that, that's fine. But for now, I'll use that spot and use that as my power position. It is a very, very potent spot if you can get to it. If you can't get to it, then the enemy has played the cards quite well. As you can see, I've already taken out 2 T95E1s. There's an LVT that I could have killed if I was faster, but he bailed. Whatever. I'll take out the M163. Now, if my team was to come back in some planes, that could have been very useful. I'm checking over the hill. They're not going to expect me here. And not only that, but the enemy team seems to be camping up in their ridges, holding that spot just over the rocks. And I don't want that to happen. I'm not a fan of camping in general. If you're going to camp at the back of the map, you might as well not play at all. If I'm going to camp, I'm going to push a forward position like I have here, take out the enemy, and allow my team to push through with relative ease and without worrying about enemy reinforcements. You can see here that I've already racked up 4 kills very, very easily, just with the Leo 2K's mobility alone, let alone the firepower. Every shot apart from this chieftain has been a one-shot, and that's awesome. That is such an awesome gun. APF SDS is a little bit overpowered, I would say, but it's very, very nice to use. If you have APF SDS, you are best off not taking any other shell, except for maybe some high explosive, which I've done. But for the most part, the APF SDS will be your bread and butter. I highly recommend it. It's a fantastic shell. 400mm of pen, and that's pretty much good enough. You don't really need it to do anything else. It pretty much does the job. The Leo 2K has by far been the most enjoyable tank that I've played this patch. Maybe apart from the Leopard A101 at its battle rating, but that's for another video. The Leopard 2K is just a great high-speed flanking support tank. I would not recommend brawling with it. It doesn't have the reload rate, but for the most part, you can really, really make that thing shine in an offensive role, and even in a defensive role where you're holding off a capture point or waiting for your team to catch up to you. I highly, highly recommend grinding for it. There is absolutely no better tank apart from the Abrams at the moment. It just shines in so many ways that it's just a tank that should not be missed. I would absolutely, if you have the money for it, maybe GE it. I would recommend that you buy some Golden Eagles and gold the tank. As long as you don't gold your way all the way through the tech tree, as long as you have some grounding in top tier, I would definitely recommend using this tank. It's so much fun. If you know your maps, if you know where to be, if you know those power positions, like that hill, like the flanks, any high up sniping positions, I don't recommend playing at the back of the map though. Play forward, play aggressive, and you'll have an absolutely fantastic time in this tank. And once you die, you've got your backups. You've got so many tanks to fall back on, and it's just wonderful. It is really, I can't say enough about this tank. Rightio guys, I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.